What is the stupidest thing you have ever done as a dungeon master when you were running a game?
The stupidest thing I have ever done was, well, for starters, I ran a big old West Marches game with 32 people in it, and it was just me as the DM. And over the course of 82 sessions, there were 79 dead PCs. It was an absolute clown fiesta with just me as the DM. Most times, West Marches games are multiple DMs. I just wanted to overcome, and do it myself. So one of the dumb things about that, well, not only was the in dumb in itself, but the dumb thing was I allowed for there to be 100% player creativity in regards of how they handle exploring the world and all that. They've made their own guild, and then they made their own bylaws and did this and that. But during the formation of their adventuring guild, there was a solid 3 days straight. I remember this in my Discord, 3 days straight of them arguing about how they're going to structure the guild. Is there going to be multiple guilds? Is there going to be one big guild? Who's the guild leader? How are you going to handle loot distribution? Loot distribution was huge because if you delved into the mega dungeon 9 times, but then the 10th expedition, the one that you're not on, gets the big treasure hoard, and then you don't get anything, that sucks. So there was a lot of debates going on about that. It was 3 days of solid arguments, and I let it slide because I wanted them to have that freedom. Unfortunately, I realized that freedom is too good for people these days. So the next time I run a big West Marches game, I'm going to have some laws already in store. But that was my dumbest thing I've done as a DM, allowing a 3-day argument to continue on. What about you, Mark?
Well, mine's a pretty classic tale of giving the party a magic item and regretting it after you gave it to them. At the time, it seemed like a good idea. I thought it was funny. Basically, it was a tea set that if they pulled it out, then everyone had to stop and have tea. That seemed funny at the time when I designed it, threw it out there. I thought that the party would have a good time with it, except when it came down to the big battle with one of my Death Knight that I had designed this great battle. They pulled the tea set out and just kind of made it a mockery kind of the whole situation. And that's when I decided that I had to do something about that tea set. So suffice it to say, in a later battle, they accidentally tripped and crushed that stupid tea set. But yes, it's the classic tale of you give someone, it seemed like a good idea at the time, and they use it against you. Yeah, ruins everything. So what about you, Caleb? I'm sure surely you've done something that's you regretted.
Okay, you were about to say, I'm sure you did something stupid.
No.
But yeah, no, I've done a lot of stuff that I've regretted, definitely as a DM and a GM. The example that I have actually is from back in the day when I was running Warhammer Fantasy 2nd Edition. And I didn't realize that one of the players was interested in just doing like a glorious death. And so like it was a series of, a couple of games, and I didn't realize like, oh, he's just making the choice that he just wants to sacrifice his character to do this goal and just die gloriously. And I just didn't pick up on that. So instead of just letting him do this, which would have made total logical sense in the thing, I rolled for it, which was dumb in terms of like I actually rolled out like the D10s of damage, and it was not quite enough to just kill him with massive damage. And it was a real shame because like that would have been an amazing bit of like storytelling on his part where he actually had control of his character and said, you know what, I'm here right now. This is what my character would do. And I should have just kind of went with that rather than like rolling stuff out, which is what I usually do in terms of character deaths. I just roll stuff out and let the dice lie where they lie. But in this case, I just was too dense. I just did not pick up on what he was trying to go for right then. And I should have, and I kind of retroactively changed the story afterwards, which he got a kick out of. But yeah, that was the thing. You know, you just not recognizing when somebody has a a very like solid thing they want to do with the character and just not going. That was probably one of my biggest mistakes, because he was a great role player, and that would have been probably the best moment in a tabletop game had I just kind of picked up on what he was going for. I've taken improv classes since then, so I've gotten much better at that. Frederick, any regrets during your long, illustrious career?
So many. Okay, I guess that's the end of the video. No. Okay, all right. So probably one of the worst things I've ever done is I spent like a week, maybe 2 weeks, late at night for hours and hours and hours. I wrote 26 pages of material for this adventure for Star Wars Saga. I know that's not Dungeons and Dragons. And my players decided they didn't want to be on that world, and they wanted to get in a spaceship and fly away to another one. And that's what they did. And so I didn't use any of that stuff. And I was like, it was gone, and I couldn't transplant it. And I was like, I don't know what to do. So that's probably one of the stupidest things I've ever done, is actually spending so much time preparing for one adventure. But also on top of that, I made a mimic that was the size of like a wizard tower. In the Keep on the Borderlands adventure, you're supposed to, build in the location. It says, Dungeon Master, you figure it out. So I decided giant tower mimic, and they escaped. And then they proceeded to attack the giant tower mimic. And I had failed to understand that I needed to change the speed of the creature rather than leaving it as it was. So all they did is run around in a circle in this clearing as the thing was trying to chase them, which of course it couldn't move fast enough to actually get to them, and just shot it with their bows and their magic until it died. It couldn't even run away into the forest because they were moving too quickly and it was moving too slow. So it could never escape. So yes, I didn't matter how many hit points I gave the thing. Yeah, it died. So that was probably one of the stupidest things I've ever done in terms of making monsters.
I think at some point that tower would have been spitting lightning bolts or acid or something. if that were me, just you got to one up them,
So let us know down in the comments, what is the stupidest thing you have done when you've been running as a dungeon master or a game master in your game?